All right, so in this video, we're just going to talk about the wrap up and the billing. So say we've already completed our note, we've signed it. The one thing that we will need to do is we'll still need to put in our treatments, which I usually just copy and paste over from the actual note because I've documented them there. You would put in whether you've done therapeutic exercise, manual therapy, gait, neuro, re-ed, etc. Um, yeah, the last two categories, I typically don't utilize the group and the functional activities, but feel free to bill appropriately to what you do. We really don't do group here, group therapy. But say these were the interventions that I've done, so I'd click copy. While still in the open note, I can just put that right in here, hit paste. Maybe we also did uh, grade 2 mobilizations, lumbar spine, L4 through L1, 3 times 30 cycles with 30 seconds rest. Right, you can be as specific as you otherwise so choose or desire, and you can obviously put more than one intervention in each line. Just keep that in mind. Typically, I think it's intended that you would put each intervention independently in each line, right? So it would populate like this. Potentially, would be more appropriate of how it's intended to be used, but that's not necessarily how I use it. You'd hit accept. If you needed to edit what you did, you would click on these 3 dots and you could go to flow sheets. And if I go to treatments, you can see that this has populated here. And you can see what I had populated previously for the interventions during our initial evaluation. And then you can change these as you need to. You could just put type them in here where you just hit tab, right, and you just go line by line, right, and that's another way to do it via flow sheets. But yeah, at the end of your note, you've already signed it, and then you would go to you put in your treatments, you go to wrap up. I went through this briefly within the evaluation note. I'm just going to do it again. So there's 3 sections. You have your PT charges, you have your charge capture, which also includes a subsection of accepted charges. So in this instance, because we've already billed for this as one of our example for an eval, you can see that we did it was yesterday's example was a 30-minute eval, 12 minutes of Therax, and 16 minutes of neuro re-ed. So that's all fine and good. We're going to change that for today. So, based off the inputs that we had, say we did, I don't know, 25 minutes of therapeutic exercise, and then we did 16 minutes of manual. I click this, and then you can see what's happened here is that what was neuro re-ed and Therax has changed. So I'm just going to accept both of those. And then you could see the accepted charges here. These are the accepted charges from yesterday. Again, just given this particular example, because we're using the same encounter for multiple examples. So I would just delete those. And then you can see that as I click these, they populate down here. And just making sure that the units are appropriate, right? So based off the 8-minute rule, so we have 2 units of therapeutic exercise and manual therapy. We are good to go. And you can see the quantity here, 2 for the Therax, 1 for the manual. And then I would hit sign visit and I'd be all set. But that is kind of how the wrap up would go. There are instances where people will have a Medicare or Medi-Cal and yeah, so this will populate only if they have private, essentially private insurances. But if they have the Medi-Cal, you'll know that they have Medi-Cal because these won't pre-populate, meaning I'll put the information in up above and there won't be preemptive charges. When I do that, or when that occurs, so let's just use that as an example. Say this patient had Medi-Cal. I put in my information. These buttons don't populate. I need to go to Medi-Cal. And the way that Medi-Cal works is that they bill for, it's a little truncated, but you get the idea. So you bill for the initial 30 minutes for your eval, if this was an eval. Say it was a complex individual and it took you more than 30 minutes to do the eval. You can click on eval additional 15 minutes. And then it's the same concept for your uh, interventions. Now they group and lump all interventions together, meaning they don't care whether you're not going to bill for your NeuroRead versus your Therax versus your manual. It's like initial 30 minutes of any intervention, right? So initial 30 minutes, and this is just a combo modality or intervention. And say in a subsequent example, for instance, it only took us 30 minutes to do our eval. We did up to 30 minutes, but we also ran over by 10 minutes. Then you would do an additional 15 minutes of the intervention code. So that would be one example of how you would do an initial eval. If it wasn't an initial eval, typically this is going to be the billing for your Medi-Cal because we work off 45 minutes. So you're going to do your initial 30 minutes, and then any additional time thereafter is going to fill up the 15. Of noteworthy, it doesn't really apply for the 8-minute rule here. Anytime over your 30 minutes would be, you would immediately drop the additional 15 minutes. And then you can see that now the charges below have changed respectively based off the buttons I've clicked above. And then I would be good to go again, and I could click my sign visit.